and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape, able to escape. Turns the corner, stays in back. Gets to the edge, Sonny Michelle will send the Dogs home to the 30, 35. Yeah! Herman Whitfield to the 50, to the 40, Herman Whitfield to the 30. There's another first down.
Not dealing with much pressure at all when he does drop back to throw.
The play action, Bennett looks down the middle, McConkey's wide open, touchdown Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, guys. It is week 3 preview day.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to you live. Well, not live. From the Knowles and Dogs podcast studios. Virtually, we'll call it. What is up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you already viewed week 2 recap a couple days ago.
Great episode.
If you haven't already, go back, watch that after this, before, so you got to set yourself up for this week.
Yeah.
As you see below me, hit that, go to YouTube, watch us, subscribe, like the videos. And if you're on Spotify, we're on there too. Yeah. So if you're on the road, if you're working out, listen to us. You're a psychopath if you do so. But listen to us. I love that. All right. Question here out of the gate. All right. Do you listen to podcasts while you lift or work out or exercise?
Why exercise now?
The only time I will is if I'm doing cardio, like Stairmaster, if I'm on treadmill or something, I'll put on a podcast and watch it.
So
it helps me kill time.
Yeah. Yeah. I when I do trucks and stuff for work, right?
Oh, I put a podcast in.
Yeah, no, at the beginning of my work, I'll put the podcast on. But as I get more tired, then I put music on so that it's harder. Because I can fall asleep to because at the beginning of the hour, I'll listen to I'll listen to Cover 3 or, Cover 3 or something like that. And then, if I'm getting bored, I'll listen to Reddit stories.
What are you listening to Reddit stories for?
Hey, you hear some wild things going on that are.
I bet you do.
True.
I'm sure you do.
I got some stories I could tell you, but that's a story for a different day.
Of course it is. That is absolutely Reddit stories. What a start to the.
I know, right?
So, like we said, subscribe if you haven't already, because why not? It's free. Just tap the button. Just tap it. A little tap. Tap. Come on, guys. Remember, we're trying to get to 100, and we haven't had any. We got to get more subscribers. That's all we're going to say. Rundown for you today. We're going to go through 3 of the bigger games: South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Backyard Brawls back, West Virginia, Pitt. Then we're going to go to Upset Watch, where I have 4 games. And we'll discuss, not go individually through. We'll give score predictions for all of these games, though. And which team has the most chance of getting upset? Last week, Wisconsin was the victim to the upset poll or meter. I don't know what you want to call it. Anyway, and then we're going to go to best bets. Remember, last week we went 3-2 with best bets picks if you went with the Knowles and Dogs. So this week I got 4 bets for you. And if you're curious for more, check out Josh Pate and Late Kick, the Ramen Noodle Express.
Oh, yeah.
Check out that. Shout out Josh Pate and Friday Night Lines on his Instagram Live. He doesn't post them, but you got to check. Follow him on Instagram, and he will give you good lines. Good stuff.
I don't even know. Does Josh Pate count as a podcast? I feel like it's more of a talk show.
He's on Spotify podcast. He's on Spotify and Apple Pod.
Yeah, but I prefer watching it than listening.
Well, I mean, are we a podcast then?
You know what? That's a good point. But I think you're really missing something if you watch Pate. Or no, I mean if you listen to Pate over watching him. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that could be for anything.
You don't even get to see the chalice.
The chalice of supremacy?
Oh, yeah.
What have you done? What have you done to earn a chalice of supremacy?
I have not.
Are you getting that paper pop, that padlock stat? Shout out Josh Pate, the best in the biz. That's what I'm going to say.
We all look up. That's who your parents want to be. Think about it like that, right?
Yeah. All those casuals out there. If they ever talking about off season, that means they're casuals.
Ooh.
We don't like that word around here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get right into it though.
Mm-hmm.
Before we start messing around more. UGA South Carolina. Finally, I get to talk about the Dogs. I haven't talked about them in 3 weeks, it feels like.
Yeah.
So it feels good to be talking about them, even though we're 27.5-point favorites. I believe as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to dive into the X's and O's, last year, Georgia went to South Carolina, 48-7 win.
Yeah.
The Dogs have dominated the series as of late. Last time South Carolina beat Georgia was the last time Georgia lost at home. That was back in 2019. Remember where I was? I was volunteering at a library in the children's department. So that was bad.
I think I was working at Chick-fil-A still when that happened.
That was not fun. That was not fun. You know how hard it is as a fan to not lose your mind because you got to keep it down and you're around kids. Yeah, that's not fun. So, shout out Kirby Smart for, making up stuff to get that bulletin board material. Dogs are going to be loud. Dogs are going to be loud. Entering this game, for that matter, you get two quarterbacks that, one is the definition of Jekyll and Hyde, and Spencer Rattler, Carson Beck, who's waited all these years to finally start. Like, it's his team now. Beck hasn't looked bad through 2 games.
Yeah.
He threw one pick last week. That really wasn't his fault because the receiver ran the wrong route. But, 44 of 61, he's 577 yards, 3 touchdowns. They're not going to ask him to throw the ball a ton. As of late, because, they don't need to. They haven't played anybody. Spencer Rattler hasn't played bad. I mean, he's 55 of 66. He only has 11 incompletions through 2 games. 698 yards, 3 touchdowns. Issue is the sacks, but our issue is the O-line has been too inconsistent for the Gamecocks. Go back to watch the North Carolina game.
That's been their Achilles heel.
Oh yeah. And if they can't,
I think that right there, that's going to determine if this is a game or if this is a Georgia blowout for me. I think absolutely how South Carolina's O-line lines up against Georgia's, which quite frankly, just on paper, I think Georgia is going to have a complete mismatch and they're going to dominate. That's how it looks right now, but you never know until Saturday.
Yeah, no, you never know because we always say any given Saturday. Looking up the stats here, sacks allowed here on NCAA. Trying to see 2 games. Oh no, we gave it 1.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think Georgia's not going to have to worry about that. Georgia's and our ability to get to the quarterback is going to be the biggest story here. Because if they can get home, if Zion Logue, Tramel Waltower, there's Warren Brinson, Michael Williams. Like, if these guys are able to get home and just create havoc, it's going to be a long, miserable day for the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's just better in every way.
Yeah, I think they just line up way better against this team than
better athletes everywhere in the ball. There's not really like a mismatch. The only thing I would say, if there's one thing that Georgia or South Carolina can do to limit the Bulldogs, that would be to limit them in the run game. Georgia's hasn't been able to effectively run the ball as much and effective as they want to. So if Gamecocks are able to, make Georgia one-dimensional, force them into just obvious passing downs, that could be something that could play well into their favor. But then even if you do that, then you still have just better weapons all around. You still have Bowers. You still have Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovett, Dylan Bell. You have all these guys. So I'm not too worried. But you don't want to get into obvious passing down. It's the worst thing you can do as an offense.
Yeah.
So, like I said, 27.5 is the total or the over-under right now. Over-under, or is the line. Over-under is 54.5. Is there any other big takeaways you think from this game? What's it, an X factor or someone?
Right now, to me, it looks like Georgia's going to dominate. The only potential mismatch there is in South Carolina's favor, really. Maybe South Carolina's, because we haven't seen enough Carson Beck. Maybe Spencer Rattler is just a lot better, but we really don't know yet. But I really don't think there's anything other to say than our predictions for scores here. Like, what do you think?
As far as scores go, I think Georgia, wins. Obviously, they come in with a 19-game winning streak, longest in the country. They haven't lost at home since then. They currently hold that record.
Yeah.
They are 3 or 4 weeks out from breaking Florida's all-time record for most consecutive weeks at the AP number 1.
Yeah.
And they've won 35 of their last 36. Dogs roll, baby. Dogs roll. Kirby Smart's 5-0 against his. I saw this stat actually right before we got on, and I'll get Kirby Smart 5-0 against former assistants. Shane Beamer, one of them. I love Shane Beamer, but I kind of don't like him at the same time. But he is kind of a cool guy.
Yeah.
If there was you gave you got to hang out with Shane Beamer, I'm okay, that's pretty sweet. What was I gonna say? Oh, Kirby Smart 5-0 against former assistants. In those games, Georgia's averaging 42 points a game and giving up around 6 points a game.
Yeah.
So utter dominance. And no assistant's been able to figure it out. So as far as this game goes, I think Georgia wins 38-7.
Yeah.
I think Georgia needs to get off to a fast start. There's 2 things South Carolina can do to disrupt this. Stop the run, force them to pass, all the time.
Yeah.
And, play good defense. Especially early on, and get ahead, jump on the board.
Yeah.
Get out in front.
The only one of those things I think South Carolina might be able to do is I think they might get out ahead of Georgia.
Yeah.
Because it's been Georgia does this every single game. They, for some reason, let the team they're playing score first.
They do.
They always they let them go downfield and score, and I think that happens again. I think South Carolina gets the ball first. They go downfield and they score. Everybody gets hyped. Everybody goes on Twitter and says, "Georgia doesn't look good this game, guys."
Yeah,
and then they score 2 field goals. My prediction is 45-13. I think they kill them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the last 2 games have been such slow starts. I mean, they went into the second quarter against Ball State tied at 0.
Yeah.
No score. So they can't do that. I want to see Bobo let Beck loose. Let him loose. Let him throw down the field.
Yeah.
If it's not there, check it down. That's fine. But I'm seeing too many checkdowns, and maybe I'm not seeing what they're seeing because of what the TV is.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing a lot of deep throws, and when I have, they've been good results most of the time. So I want to see Beck have a game. This is the big, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to
starter.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 38-7, they cover. Georgia, remember last year they were up 45-0 before Texas, or they scored. They allowed a touchdown.
Yeah.
45 or 41-0 before they allowed a touchdown. So they're going to dominate. I expect nothing else, and it sets up potentially. I was looking today at a couple weeks down the road here. So you get South Carolina this week. You got UAB next week. Then you got to go on the road, first road game to Auburn. If Auburn wins this week they're playing some nobody. Next week, hold on, I just had it up too because I was looking at it earlier. They play 1 second here. Where's the SEC? SEC. There it is. So Auburn plays Samford this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got. So they have Samford this week. Texas A&M next week at A&M.
Yep.
If they win that, it sets up a 4-0 potentially start of clash in Jordan-Hare.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just saying, War Eagle. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't like Auburn. Can't stand them. Anyway, just can't. Just despicable.
Rank them.
Frank. I know. I was like, I wanted Tulane to win last week, but I was like, come on, I need Ole Miss to look good for when they come to town. That's in November. But let's go, guys. Alrighty. So, UGA South Carolina is over.
I think
Next game.
I think we have very different opinions on this game.
I think we do, and I love debate.
Yeah.
There's too much agreement in this podcast, and it annoys me sometimes. And it's no shot at you or me. It's just like, man, we got too much that we agree on.
Yeah.
We need more healthy debate, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got one here.
Yeah, me too.
So, Florida, Tennessee, it's the ESPN primetime game.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy Kirk Herbstreit, or at least my boy, I love Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, I like Herbstreit.
Potential man crush alert there.
I'm not a big fan of Chris Fowler though.
Well, I love Fowler.
Not my guy.
Well, you're just wrong again. So, who do you like? Who's your go-to? Like, if you could make who's your go-to broadcast duo? It could be
if I can make the duo.
Yeah.
I'd probably mix Herbstreit with Al Michaels.
Well, you already get that on Thursdays.
Oh yeah.
That was the most boring answer ever.
I know. I'm excited for tonight.
I would do Brad Nessler and Kirk Herbstreit.
Okay.
For college. I love Brad Nessler.
Yeah, the only other one I was thinking about was
I loved when it was Nessler and not Gary Danielson, Todd Blackledge.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago on ESPN. Sean McDonough and Blackledge was good. Now Blackledge at NBC. It's just like
no, yeah.
What about NFL?
NFL? I like Romo.
Oh, I love Romo.
Romo's good.
I like when he goes, "Oh, Jim, he did it again."
You know what I would love to see though? I would love to see Romo and Gus Johnson together. I feel like they would play off each other well.
They'd be like in a metaphoric analogy war going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I'm not a big fan of Joel Klatt.
You don't like the Klatster?
I feel like he's way too self-serious about himself.
We need to get Romo and Colin Cowherd in the booth together.
That would be crazy because Cowherd is so annoying.
You don't like Colin Cowherd?
No, I don't. For one reason.
I love watching the show, but I really don't agree with some of his takes, but I love watching
That's the only reason I watch the show is because I disagree with everything he says because he just seems like he does not watch sports.
Well, he's that West Coast.
He reads the box score and goes, well, yeah, you know.
The 49ers, they're for real. Got it. Tell me that.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is he watched the offseason and he probably went,
Hey, whoa. Offseason.
Oh, training camp.
Yeah.
He watched training camp and he was probably like, oh, I still think Trey Lance is the number one guy in San Francisco.
Too bad he broke up with my daughter. Oh man, we have fun here. All right, let's get to the game, shall we?
Yes.
Oh, so you said Gus Johnson and Romo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say. I mean, I love Nance and Romo already, but I love who's sneaky underrated? Iron Eagle. Oh, Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Harlan's. I like Kevin Harlan.
Give me Kevin Harlan, right? Just because we got to be creative. Kevin Harlan and Tony Romo.
What's the girl's name? I forget her name. Doris.
Doris Burke.
Yeah.
She's an
I
NBA.
like Doris. No, but she does college football too. Or what's her name?
No, that's Beth McMullins.
Beth McMullins. I like Beth McMullins too. I don't know why.
Because she's the only female play-by-play.
Yeah, but I actually think she's pretty good though.
She's not bad.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, call her ESPNU, ESPN2 broadcaster, but
Hey, it's not as bad as being the ACC network extra broadcasters. Those guys stunk, man.
There's a guy, Mike Monaco.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I love Mike
Yeah.
Monaco. He's one of the youngsters. He does the College World Series,
Mm-hmm.
does the Red Sox games, and he does ACC network, baseball and football. So
yeah, I was gonna say for the ACC network they had Orlando Franklin as the the analyst, and man, dude, that guy was no good, man. He just seemed like he did not care about the game at all.
Well, what game was it?
It was Florida State versus Southern Miss, but
that's why nobody cares about that game.
But he was like, Southern Miss needs to run the ball.
You know what Florida State should start?
Like,
teams should start doing against these cupcakes. It's like once the game's over, like by halftime, they should just start bringing fans onto the field to play.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And then
Florida State pretty much, we had our fourth string quarterback in
by the 12-minute mark in the third. You can't have.
Yeah. And they didn't have him throwing the ball. They just had him running.
When is a team going to step up and play their starters all the entire game against these teams? I want to see IMG 96-0 against the team the other week.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't. I'm not surprised. I didn't see it, but no.
I just saw a picture that was going around. They beat some team 96-0, and it wasn't Bishop Sycamore either. It was some actual school. But while you're looking that up, or whatever you're looking up, let's get rolling with this game.
Yeah.
Because we are getting a little sidetracked today, guys. Anyway, so UF Tennessee, I will be at the game. Boots on the ground. In enemy territory for hopefully a good game.
Yeah. I hope it's a good game, too.
Crossing my fingers here.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan thinks Tennessee's going to win.
Yep. And
now, by win, do you think blowout or just...
No. Close win. I think Tennessee wins by a touchdown.
Do you so they cover?
Yeah.
Line is 6.5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you think they cover?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say Florida's. I think Florida's has a legit shot in this game.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you the blueprint. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So Tennessee is a very run-heavy team this year.
Yeah.
So if Florida can not stack the box, they can't stack the box against this Tennessee team. Otherwise, they're going to beat you deep over your head. And I had actually pulled up a stat here. Was it passing yards allowed? So Florida's issue on defense that they're 8th in the country in passing yards allowed. They're only but they're 22nd in the country. And they're 22nd in the country in was it rushing yards, I believe I looked up? Rushing defense. Yeah. They're 22nd in the country in rushing defense. They're not terrible. Yeah. They're allowing only about 75 yards a game. The issue is Tennessee is 3rd in the country in rushing offense.
Yeah.
They are averaging, let me pull up this number here.
I think it's 230.
257.5. They're averaging 6 yards a carry. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they're doing it on the ground.
Yeah.
And if you've sat through and watched the Tennessee game, I only watched the Virginia game. I didn't watch their snooze fest against Austin Peay when they only won by 7.
I barely saw it. It was on like.
But what I can tell you is that Milton's missed some throws down the field. This is his first real SEC environment that he's going to be playing in on the road.
Yep.
If the running game is not there, and by that means Florida can play in a normal box without stacking the box, playing the run, because then you're going to get beat over the top.
Yeah.
If you can just rely on your guys on your corners to just stay with your guys and not get burned, and you can stop the run or at least limit it.
Yeah.
You will have a shot. Now, that being said, the offense, Graham Mertz has got to have a big game.
Yeah.
Through the air, he's got to have a game. He's got to Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne have got to be able to make a case for themselves. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to count McNeese State because McNeese State doesn't count.
Yeah,
So
but
that's an FCS
they
team.
both did not play well against Utah though.
They did
But
not
I don't know
play
if
well.
that was. Yeah, Utah completely. Trevor Etienne had 7 carries for 25 yards against Florida, and he was their leading rusher against Utah, and he was their leading rusher for Florida.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to pull up where Florida ranks right now. God, Georgia's
rushing yards,
rushing like offense. Yeah, just in general.
Oh yeah.
Georgia's 92nd in the country. That is unacceptable, guys. Come on. So you go through your Tennessee talk while I'm looking this up.
Okay, so the biggest thing for Tennessee is, like you were saying, with running the ball. While Florida's defensive numbers are high, partially it's because they killed an FCS opponent at home at night in the sold-out Swamp.
Well, that's what this weekend will be.
But what I mean is that the team was levels below Florida. You're playing a Tennessee team that, quite frankly, is more talented than you are.
Oh, here, there. So Florida's 60th in the country in rushing offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're averaging about 170 yards a game.
Yeah. Well, that's because I'm
going to look at passing.
So they had 13 yards in the Utah game.
No, but that factors in. But remember that factors in sacks. Factors in sacks. Come on, Dylan. You remember this.
That's true. That is true.
Because Graham Mertz
did have negative 30 yards.
Because I'll go back to the game. Ready? So Graham Mertz got sacked 5 times. Yep.
But so Trevor Etienne had 7 carries for 25 yards. Eugene Wilson had 1 carry for 9 yards. Montrell Johnson had 3 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah, no, they need those 2 backs to come up come ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And that's the only FBS opponent they've played this year. And I get it; it's Utah. Utah is good.
Florida,
but they looked like a joke when it came to running the ball. They just couldn't do it at all, and that was their identity for most of that. I'm
gonna come out and say this. So when you go on the road in one of the most hostile places to play in Utah, I mean, nobody wins at Utah. Utah is up there with Georgia, one of the most. I mean, they haven't lost a game since the 2020 season at home. So it's it's a tough place to play. Opening night. Did they practice that night or that week? I don't know. They may have not. Maybe Napier gave them the day off, or the week off. But I mean, they rank 39th in the country in passing. Mertz has got to be able to just have a good day. I mean, I expect a big day from Ricky Pearsall. I need Caleb Douglas. I need these guys to show up if they're going to have a shot. Now, if you're Tennessee, you got to rely on what has brought you here. Milton has got to be able to settle in early. I think that would be big for him. If he's able to settle in early, maybe hit a deep shot, get the nerves down, quiet the crowd some, do what any good away team does, and that's quiet the crowd first. If you quiet the crowd, get them down, then you can play at your own game. You play at your pace. You're not getting dictated by anybody else. And I think that's what happened in Florida, Utah. Game starts speeding up. And then you start making penalties. And then pressure gets to you. And then that's when the sacks, the turnovers, everything goes bad. I just think it's like a combination of like the perfect storm, the perfect time. Like Florida, everyone knows that they're not going to be contending.
Yeah.
Tennessee has everything to lose here. Florida has nothing to lose right here. You know what I mean? Nothing to lose. I mean, but the fact that they get it at home, Tennessee hasn't won there since 2003.
Yeah.
And it's a night game, sold out, first real big test. I'm just worried about that quarterback, Milton, coming in. Because he hasn't been proved yet. He hasn't been tested yet. Even when he was at Michigan, nothing. He got hurt the 1 year, 2 years ago. I just haven't seen enough from him to have full confidence. Yeah. But so that's why
I get that. I
Go
get
ahead.
that feeling for Milton, but my only thing is that when it comes to the fact that they haven't won, I think that's massive motivation for Tennessee.
It is. I mean,
Like that's the kind of bulletin board material they're putting on every single day.
yeah.
So I think that the fact that they haven't won there in such a long amount of time, they have more talent. They look they look better coached in the two because they played Virginia and who else did they play?
Austin P.
Austin P. They didn't look good in Austin P, but for a good amount of the Virginia game, they dominated the running game.
But
Like they
Virginia
looked,
is statistically one of the worst teams in the Power 5 or in the FES.
and McNeese's level FCS. You know what I mean?
Virginia is another crappy season from getting demoted to FCS. So
Yeah,
if it wasn't for their basketball and baseball program, they wouldn't be doing anything right now.
fair enough, but McNeese is a Division I FCS school. They completely looked outmatched in every single way
They
against Florida.
Florida's defense has got to be able to not limit the explosive plays.
Yep.
I think that's the key with everything. When you play Tennessee, you got to stop the run, limit the run, limit the explosive plays. They're going to get one or two.
The special teams too.
You're going to get one or two. You got to limit it. You know what I mean? They can't and I expect, they have guys. Tennessee has guys. Are they Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman guys? No. But, Ramel Keaton, Squirrel White, Brew McCoy, these are guys that are plenty good enough to take the top off and just demoralize your offense.
Yeah.
So if anything has to happen, even if they don't get too much pressure, the secondary's got to hold up. Otherwise, Tennessee's going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
So the line started at 7.5. It opened at, I believe.
Yeah.
It is now down to 6. Tennessee's favorite.
Yeah.
58.5 is the over-under. So what is your prediction on this game?
I'm going 28-21 Tennessee.
I am going to go 31-27 Gators.
Sorry, I just don't think Florida's offense is going to score that much.
We're going to see. We're seeing.
And I'm also worried about their special teams still.
Well, I think that was just a bad day at the office, if we're being honest.
If all the days had bad.
Dylan, I'm putting my reputation on the line for this Florida team.
I know you are.
And this doesn't happen very often. So let's just hope that they don't make me look like an absolute fool when it comes to this. All right. So actually, real quick, I'm looking at rushing defense. Oh, there is. Tennessee is ranked 32nd, tied to Mississippi State. They're only allowing 87 yards on the ground. UF has averaged about 170. Take that for a grain of salt. You could also take that for a grain of salt with Tennessee, who's played 2 bad opponents. Sorry.
Well, I will say Florida had 330 rushing yards against McNeese State.
That was pretty. Listen, that's what you need. You build momentum. No.
I get that, yeah, but
what Tennessee
30.
can't have happen. That's just great. Tennessee can't have happen is let Florida get out in front. Like what happened with Utah when they hit that big deep shot to take the lead, it just killed Florida. Tennessee
ruined
can't
everything for them.
Oh yeah, because now the crowd's into it, and now you're just done. And then you come back out with a 3 and out. That's just not good. If Tennessee has a slow start and Florida hops right on it, look out.
Yeah.
Now, can they put it together for 4 quarters? That's going to be the story. I expect this to be a very close game throughout. Is one team going to pull ahead from the other, or is it going to be close throughout? That's to be determined. But I just think it's the perfect storm for Florida to win this. Perfect storm.
Yeah. I still just don't get why they fired Dan Mullen.
Me neither. Let's bring back. Did you see his comments he had?
About what? Oh, the
They just aren't the same team they were from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. That's a genius line, man.
That's great.
The worst part is
Old
he's
Mullen.
absolutely right. He's completely right too.
Old
But all right,
Dan.
we'll move on.
We'll move on. That's a good call. Thank you for moving on. All right, Backyard Brawl. We're back.
Mhm.
West Virginia Pitt. I know this isn't for a lot of you guys. Like this is,
Yep.
what are we talking about this game? Two crappy teams. Checkmate. One of the biggest rivalries in all of college football that doesn't get played enough as much as it did in the past.
Yep.
These two teams despise each other. This is who has family from the West Virginia side, who has friends on the Pitt side. These two teams hate each other.
Yep.
With a dying passion. I mean, we remember last year's game.
Yeah, we do.
The largest crowd at Acrisure Stadium ever, pro or college.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the game.
Yeah.
Like, this is these two teams' national title.
Mm-hmm.
This is like when Florida and Georgia play, you have to beat your rival.
Yep.
Florida State, Florida. You have to beat your team.
Yep.
There
Absolutely.
is nothing more demoralizing than losing to your rival. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
And so, whether or not they stink or they're good, it's prime time. It's going to be the biggest game in Morgantown since, it could be in like about over a decade.
Yeah.
These two teams have met. This will be the. Let's do some quick math here.
I'm looking at it right now.
What's
This
that?
should be
The 107th?
105th.
105th. So it would be 106th time.
Yep.
This would be the 106th meeting. Pitt leads the all-time 62 to 40-3. However, the Mountaineers are 16-9-1 in the last 26 games. Pitt won last year's matchup though, 38-31.
Yep.
But the Mountaineers, Fox posted something about the game. It's just dumb. I wish game day was going to be there. It would have been awesome because he would have had McAfee back there.
Yep.
Imagine Pat McAfee was there.
That'd be great. But
Would be
no,
awesome.
they're not doing that. They're going to Colorado versus Colorado State.
Which is
Probably one of the worst matchups of the week.
Everyone's going there. Sports Center's going there. First Take's going there. College football game day's going there.
Yeah.
Fox Big Noon Kickoff's going there.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's Colorado State. Wait 2 weeks, then they go to when USC comes in.
Yep.
No, we can't.
A couple keys for this game. Pittsburgh's quarterback Phil Jurkovec.
Jurkovec, Boston College transfer.
Yeah, Boston College transfer. He looked fine.
He was getting booed by his own team. Or his own fan base this past
I was to say a little bit of an overreaction, in my opinion, but he threw 3 touchdowns, 179 yards. Pretty bad completion percentage though at 31.3.
Yeah.
Not much to say about him other than the fact that he is from Pittsburgh. Didn't know that till right this second. And also, he was a great quarterback at Boston College. So I don't know, maybe, rivalry game, this will really turn it up.
And as for West Virginia, Garrett Granger is the starter there.
Yep.
Hasn't done bad this year, actually. They got guys. I mean, so West Virginia's got a guy and a receiver named Hunter Clement. Or Hudson Clement, excuse me. And he is an absolute machine.
Yeah.
So far this year.
Looking at some of these numbers right now, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and so he's definitely going to be a contributing factor. I mean, if this Mountaineer team, as bad as they've been lately, they held their own against Penn State. Did they lose and not cover? Yes. Was that part of a James Franklin scummy move? Yes. However, they held their own against them. That was a close enough game and then, they beat Duquesne. The line opened. Pitt was 1.5 favored, and it's now West Virginia favored
Yeah.
by 2.5. The lines shifted all the way. If you were smart, like some people were, you caught that early and you took the points with West Virginia.
I was just say other things to put. ESPN has a 64% chance for a Pitt victory according to their analytics. Just to add on to some of this game, and it's a 7:30 p.m. ABC game.
Yes, it is.
So
West Virginia has won. Yeah, West Virginia has won 3 of the last 4. That includes. So before last year's game, they hadn't played since 2011. Always remember December 1st, 2007, 13-9, Pitt won.
Yep.
Pitt fans will hold that as if they're Georgia, like people going against Georgia saying 1942. As if anybody keeps up college football, that year West Virginia was that game away from going to the national title game. Just say that again. They're going to go to the national title game. But, circumstances happen in that game where they lost at home. As I think they were 20-point favorites. I could be wrong there, but they were big favorites, and they just turned the ball over, missed field goals. It was bad. But as we're talking about this game, I expect a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Not super low-scoring, but I'm not looking for shootouts. I mean, I'm talking in the 20s. I think it's kind of like what last year was. Last year was 38-31, but I'm thinking it's going to be a lower scoring game than that. These two teams are pretty evenly matched with each other as far as where,
they're both in the middle of
the pack.
Rebuilding. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're kind of in the middle of the void, really. West Virginia is for sure.
This is a game that if you're Neil Brown, you have to win.
You get fired.
This is like the Michigan-Ohio State kind of standard where you have to beat your rival here, and if you don't, you get fired for it.
Yep. Especially since he's already been pretty underwhelming as a coach the last couple of years.
If you can you held your own against Pitt for Penn State. You beat Pitt. Okay. Now you kind of have a little more breathing room. You don't lose to your rivals here.
Yeah.
As for Pitt, if you can go into one of these guys, or I don't know if these kids are kind of prepared for what to expect here. If you're ever in the mood, you could type in "eat something Pitt," and you will see what West Virginia fans love to say. Type in, if you're ever bored, type in College Game Day, West Morgantown, Sweet Caroline. If you're ever bored one day, Dylan.
Morgantown, Sweet Caroline?
Yeah. Just type in College Game Day, Sweet Caroline, and Morgantown. There's a video out there, and you can see what. Yeah, I don't know if. Are you watching it?
I'm watching right now.
Yeah, just watch that and see why West Virginia fans will welcome Pitt with warm arms and a big old bear hug. As for score predictions, while he's watching that, I am going to say the Mountaineers come out ready to go and just take it to the Panthers. Is this a close game? Yes. As Dylan understands.
I just saw it, yeah.
So, you understand.
Yeah, I get it.
West Virginia is going to win this game 27-21. I expect the Mountaineers to get the big win they need on this road to rebuilding, wherever it ends up.
Hopefully Neil Brown fired.
Well, either way, so it's like a win-win. So it's either you guys have a good year, or your coach is fired, and then you're fine.
You bring in somebody new.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan
Mullen. We'll send Dan up to
Morgantown. That would be a great hire for Dan Mullen. That's like the perfect program for him. Because he can make like snidey remarks at Pitt all the time. And the fans will love it. But I also have West Virginia winning 21-20. I think Pitt goes for 2, doesn't make it.
Wow. See, the only thing that stinks is I'm going to have to record this game because I'm going to be at the game.
I'm going to get to watch this.
Oh, enjoy the game.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Enjoy it. Enjoy that. Just you gotta see the intro too. I love when they get the big games. You get the aerial shot in.
Especially ABC, they're gonna have a little hype video right before the game starts.
Oh
Tell me
yeah,
about the rivalry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, these places, they hate each other.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're gonna move on now to Upset Watch, where I'm gonna tell Dylan 4 games, and he's gonna tell me which team or two has the best chance of getting upset.
Yeah.
So remember, these are teams going on the road. These aren't teams hosting. These are teams going on the road into non-neutral site games.
Yep.
K-State, Dylan, Missouri. I'm going to look up the lines here, actually, as we go along with this.
Yeah. I can pull up the lines, too, for myself.
Okay. So, Kansas State, Missouri square off in Columbia, Missouri. The Wildcats come in ranked 15th in the country. Kansas State currently a 4-point favorite. This is a noon kick on SEC Network. Washington, Michigan State. Washington heads to East Lansing, where you got to be careful what you text message because they'll catch it. And one of those things they caught was 17 points that Washington's favored as heading into Spartyville. So they are the 8th ranked Huskies heading to the Big Ten country.
You can watch that game on Peacock.
Hey, hop on the cock. Watch the Gamecocks.
Okay.
Watch the Cocks. Stop. Dang, have it. Come on. You set me up there. Hey,
yeah.
LSU, Michigan. Dang, nabbit. LSU, Mississippi State. The Tigers from Baton Rouge head to Starkville, Mississippi to take on Mississippi State.
Yep.
LSU currently 9.5-point favorite. That is a noon kick on ESPN. LSU comes in ranked 14th in the country. And then Penn State and Illinois. This is big noon kickoff, or the big noon game of the week on Fox. Penn State ranked 7th in the country. This would be Drew Aller's first game on the road for my future playoff-bound Nittany Lions as they head to Champaign to take on an Illinois team that, went to Jayhawk country last Friday night and got beat. So looking to see a rebound from who's their quarterback? He was the Ole Miss transfer.
Oh, I just was looking at his name.
It's
Altmaier.
Luke Altmaier.
Yeah, Altmaier.
So we're see if
a Florida State commit. Long time ago.
Well, so KJ Bolden's going to join that list soon. Anyway, so we'll see if Illinois can build off the Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
In that student section. I don't know how good it is or not, but let's see if they can take out Penn State. Illinois has done it before with these big-time Big Ten teams coming in, so we'll see if they can do it again. Penn State, 14.5-point favorite. So, Dylan, out of those 4 games, which of those 4 teams is the most likely to get upset, and then which one is keep it on your radar?
I think the most likely is K-State versus Mizzou, because I do think those teams are pretty evenly matched, all things considered. I know Kansas State was, pretty good last year. They were ranked. But I do think Missouri has enough talent to keep up with them, and it's at home for Missouri. So K-State is ranked, so it would probably be a pretty good crowd for Missouri, too. What time is that game at?
Noon.
Is that noon? Noon, yeah, I can see. Yeah. I mean, Kansas State's only 4-point favorites.
Yeah.
I think Missouri has a decent shot. And then the one to keep on the radar, I would say Penn State versus Illinois.
So mine would be the biggest one. I think, even though I have LSU winning, Mississippi State and LSU is my one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
LSU, I think that number's too big. Going into Mississippi State, where we've already seen LSU's, if they are able to rebound how I expect them to, or are we going to see the same team we saw in Orlando a couple weeks ago where they were outplayed by both sides of the ball? Because I expect, Will Rogers hasn't been asked to do a whole lot. He only threw the ball, I think, 20 times or something. Not even. Like 17 to 20 range last week.
Yeah. Through
And it
2
was the
games,
low.
he's only thrown the ball 46 times.
Yeah, so it's one of the. He had like a career low, yes, last week when they played against Arizona. Yep. So I just think can a Jaden Daniels rebound? We'll see. My radar game is K-State Mizzou.
Yeah.
Only because I just think Mizzou might win this outright, let alone cover. I just think the SEC needs a big win, especially out of conference. That would be nice. Kansas State is very good. Will Howard is a very good quarterback.
Yep.
But, you never know. Missouri's a tough place to play. And can they get it done? We'll see. But I do think Washington and Penn State are going to roll.
Yeah. I think especially Washington. Because without a head coach.
I think that's a higher scoring game.
I just think without a head coach on such a short notice, morale is going to be pretty down with Michigan State. I think they might come out floundering, looking pretty just all over the place.
So I wrote down scores for each of these. So I took Mizzou 33-30.
Yep.
Washington, I have 45-28. I think it's kind of like a high-scoring game, but it's more just Washington scoring a bunch, and then Michigan State gets a couple late touchdowns.
Yeah.
LSU 38-30. I think Mississippi State covers. And Penn State 37, Illinois 21. So, any last thoughts here before we roll into best bets?
No, I think we got out what we want to say.
Awesome. So, we will finish you up with some best bets. So, I have what the lines are now versus what I took them at.
Yep.
So, UF, I bought some points, so I'm not going to discredit that. I bought like a point or two. Not a reasonable, odds still, but So, but right now I would still take it. UF plus 6. It's at 6 right now. If you can bump it up 6.5 for the hook or 7, that's perfectly fine. West Virginia, if you caught it early and got the +1, you're awesome. If it's now, it's West Virginia minus 1.5. Hammer that. Mississippi State, it was 10. It's now 9.5. Doesn't matter. Take them. And then Georgia Tech plus 20.5. When I had them, that's at 18.5 now. Some other ones. So, and then some other ones. I think I think Penn State is going to kill Illinois this week.
Yeah.
I would take the 14.5. I'm going to write that down. 14.5. Penn State, the Nittany Lions. So, those are our picks.
They're good picks.
Of course they are. Remember, 3-2 last week. If you want to bet with the boys, bet with us.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go through it one more time for you guys. UF plus 6.5. West Virginia minus 1.5. Mississippi State plus 9.5. Or plus 10, depending on where you're at, getting your odds from. Georgia Tech, get them at plus 18.5. Penn State plus 14.5. Or if you want, drop it to get rid of the hook, plus 14. Either one's fine. Yeah. So those 5 picks are all winners. We only tell you winners here, guys. Come on. You know that.
Yeah.
So that was week 3 preview. Any comments, concerns that Dylan has before we hop off here today?
No, I think I'm just excited to watch some football, man. Excited to watch the games tonight. The NFL, Thursday Night Football. I know you get to watch Miami play Bethune-Cookman.
Oh. Been waiting all week for that.
I know. Imagine they win.
Watch a Tyler Van Dyke drop off this game.
They're ranked too.
Well,
that would be crazy. There'd be a party in Daytona Beach.
If there's not one already.
Yeah.
So, in-store, people are saying it's a slow week in college football. Wrong. Casual alert. Every week's a good week in college football.
Yeah.
So, and this is some good games here. Some good SEC games.
They're saying it's a slow week in Gainesville, Florida.
Are they?
You just said around there.
Oh, well, I think they're more cautious optimism is the feeling around here. There's, cause for, hating Tennessee and like bring it on. Also, like
Yeah.
just praying that we don't get blown out. That's the feel around here. Hoping for the best.
We.
No.
Oh my gosh, you're converting.
No. This week, because I'm betting on them, maybe. No, I'm saying we as a whole community up here.
This town's getting to you, man.
No, it's the dogs next door that are getting to me. So, without further ado, and keeping everyone on hold, make sure you guys again are subscribing, watching the videos, and liking. And then if you're listening, do it on Spotify, where you can find us at Knowles and Dogs Podcast. Keep also remember have some news coming out for the podcast as a whole. Still finishing up the works of it, getting everything finished.
Yeah.
It'll be done sooner rather than later. And when it is done, you'll get to see what we have waiting for you.
Yeah.
So,
but it's got to take its time. We got to get this perfect.
Oh, yeah. So we'll get that done, and then it'll be out for everyone to see. So make sure you guys are enjoying Week 3 preview, watching before the games start, and we'll see you next week for a recap.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. So, peace out.
See you guys.